I think reality TV is very different now. You know, there's a lot of influencers. It's a lot more curated. You know, we were like raw footage, let's face it. And I think our audience trusted that we were exactly who we are and we're authentic. So when people meet me, they always say, you're exactly like we thought you would be.
Yes.
I really haven't dated a lot of people. I was the marrying girl.
Hello and welcome to How to Fail with Elizabeth Day. This is the podcast that's all about reclaiming and reframing failure, not as something to be ashamed of, not as something that defines us, but as something that we can learn from that might be a lesson wrapped up in a mistake. My guest today is a woman who became a reality TV star not by being perfect, but by being real. Dorinda Medley is best known for her 6 unforgettable seasons on the Real Housewives of New York, where her wit, warmth, and iconic catchphrases made her famous. Whether she was making it nice at her beloved Bluestone Manor or telling Sonia Morgan to clip it, Medley was never afraid of showing her flaws, and that arguably was what made her so compelling to watch. But before the glamour and the gifts, she lived many lives. Born and raised in the Berkshires, Massachusetts, she started working in fashion after graduating from college. She relocated to London with her first husband, a Scottish banker, where she launched a cashmere line. Her clients included the late Princess Diana. After a decade abroad and a divorce, Medley returned to the States as a single mother. A second marriage to DC power broker Richard Medley was tragically cut short when he died after only 6 years of their being together. Signing up for the Real Housewives in 2015 was a radical act of reinvention and one which catapulted her into popular culture. Since her time on the show, Medley has published a memoir, starred in 2 seasons of Ultimate Girls Trip, and was recently on the US Traitors. She also co-hosts a daily radio show, Reality Checked, on Sirius XM. Being on television has reinforced 2 big things for me, Medley once reflected. 1, that the audience is very forgiving and so is the world. And 2, that the audience feels they know you, that you're a kindred spirit. Dorinda Medley, welcome to How to Fail.
So happy to see you. And I have to say, I sound so much more important with that British accent. I feel like I'm on BBC. It's so good.
Goodness, thank you so much.
Well, isn't it interesting how when we listen to others talk about yourself, it's both incredibly warm and also a tinge of like sadness. I don't know why that is.
Yes. Well, I suppose sometimes it might sound a bit like a eulogy.
Maybe it's that, and it's just pulling you back into those moments, and with your voice so melodic, it's like, well, yeah, I know that girl.
Well, not only do I feel I know you through the medium of reality TV, but I'm lucky enough actually to have gotten to know you.
Yes.
And I have to say that you are even better in person than you are on screen. But I wonder what most people say to you on the street when they recognize you. What's the number one thing that people say?
You make it nice.
Okay.
No, I know what you mean by that question. I think the thing, and I think that's one of the reasons why our cast did so well, is we were authentically ourselves. We went on, and I can say that wholeheartedly. If you see Luann and I out, you will literally say they're exactly like they are on TV. So we didn't come on TV to present you with our personalities or present you with something and, create these personalities. They're there. So I think I read recently that authenticity is far more powerful than love.
Oh.
Yes. Because authenticity has staying power. It creates nostalgia. It's something that creates, a feeling of warmth and safety, right? Trust. And I think our audience trusted that we were exactly who we are and we're authentic. So when people meet me, they always say, and just several of my cats, you're exactly like we thought you would be.
Yes.
Obviously, it's a little bit more on steroids when you're on TV, and there is the edit. Not that I ever blame an edit, but it is reality TV. But pretty much, I'm a character. Luann's a character. Sonia's a character. And we really are those people in our lives.
Do you ever regret having been too authentic or too real, too honest about yourselves? Because I imagine you forget the cameras are there after a while.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think I think people don't understand that the cameras aren't just there for the scenes you see. There's sometimes we film 6, 8 hours a day. And especially on the girls' trips, we're filming from 8 in the morning till 11 at night.
Wow.
So you do forget, but I think I think to be unaware of the camera, I think to sign up for reality TV is you have to just take that mask down of everything we learned in kindergarten, that great book, and just say, here it is. You have to take the mask off and say, I'm not going to think it too much. I'm just going to say it, right?
Yeah. What do you think that reality TV has taught you about failure?
You know, it's so funny when I got that email yesterday and you asked me that, I couldn't, usually I'm very quick on my feet. What are your successes? What are your regrets? What would you tell your younger self? I could just banter it off. But that word failure was really, it kind of took me back at first when I got your email, right? Because I'm thinking, like that's not a word that I have allowed to really be in my life, because failure to me equals fear. Fear equals failure, and failure and fear mean you can't do it. So, but I also am hypocritical in saying that a lot, because my failures have really helped me to, pick up and get stronger and turn my failures into learning lessons, saying, oops, that didn't work. And within that failure, it has taught me to be very clever about my pivots.
Yes. Well, you are amongst friends here, because that is the total premise of this podcast, and you've put it so beautifully. I hadn't realized until I researched this interview that it was only 4 years after Richard died that you started on Roni.
Yes.
Do you think you were still grieving?
I know I was still grieving. And more than grieving, I was sort of like, I always say, I was like a toothpick in the ocean. Here I was almost, 50 years old. I'm not a huge believer in just luck. I find it a bit frustrating when people say, I can't believe that happened, because I'm very much of a follow the breadcrumb person. I mean, I think I would have been a great CIA agent, and I always say to people, if you plant tulips, don't be angry when roses don't show up. So I'm really about planting the garden, having the patience for the garden to grow, providing the garden with what it needs so I get what I planted. And strangely, I've been like that for a very long time. Even when I was dating, when I first came to New York, I realized a couple of things: that I was clever, that I was good enough looking, and that I was social. Like I had a bit of, my mother always said, Dorinda Medley, Dorinda Sinkala, you have something going for you, have charisma. And when you walk in a room, you will be noticed. So if you're good, you're going to be great. If you're bad, you're going to be terrible. And I remembered that.
Yeah.
And I did always know that, I had something that people would pick me out or want to talk to me. And when I came to New York, I was very curated about what I did, who I dated. And it wasn't a form of snobbery. It wasn't a form of, social climbing or gold digging. I knew from an early age that in order, with really no money, no contacts, coming from a small town in Great Barrington, that, I could have been the girl that married the wealthiest man in my town. But somewhere along the journey, with the help of my mother, who always has had such a big belief in me and her children, but especially me, I always think about that now, and I write about it in my book, is that I had to be very careful about my choosing, because each step was going to mean I didn't have to go back to the Berkshires. So I kind of didn't date certain people because I was like, that's not going to be a good father. That person has problems that I don't want to take on in my life. I had sort of what I thought was my vision board of my life very early on. Now, of course, the vision board has been taken down and scribbled on and stamped on, and that's okay. I got new pen and paper and some different color crayons, right? But I kind of had a set belief in myself and my vision board very early on.
So you were planting these seeds. So when Roni turned up, we started this conversation talking about how you were still grieving when you did it. But was there something about the offer?
All of a sudden, I kind of at marrying Richard and just really experiencing total accepting love, because I really didn't date a lot after my first marriage, because I was then very focused on Hannah. And I was like, well, I got divorced. Yeah, Hannah, my daughter. I was like, well, I got divorced. She didn't. So we cannot now rock the apple cart and start bringing in a lot of people and a lot of situations. I need her father present. And I always believed, maybe it's very old fashioned, but when you start to bring other apes into the jungle, like, it causes problems. So I was like, her father has to be still the number one man in her life. So I never even had anyone sleep at my house ever the whole time I was dating after I divorced her father. And Richard came along and he just was like, he fit all the marks. He was accepting of me. He was accepting of my situation. He was accepting of my hopes and goals. He was accepting of Hannah wholly and purely and what I could. And he was accepting of what I would allow her to be. Like, you couldn't have me unless we come as a unit. So I kind of remember at one point, I truly remember this, because here's a secret. I had a big wedding at the Four Seasons, and I got married at Brick Church, and we were at the Four Seasons fountain room. I had been married like a month after he got engaged to me, and we literally went down to town hall and got married and really did a Sex in the City, had lunch at a diner with my parents. Because I said to Richard after we got engaged, he said, okay, now you can move in with me and bring Hannah. I was like, oh, no. That's just a ring. Like, if we got to make this shit legal, if you want me. So he said, fine. He said to me once, you're like a crazy horse in a stable that just keeps kicking the door down. Just let's go down to town hall and do it. So, and then I moved in with him. And I remember after we did that, knowing the secret, very few people knew. I thought, Dorinda Medley, you have figured it out. All the way from Great Barrington, here you are in a beautiful townhouse, a wonderful husband. He's successful. He's stable. He loves my daughter. Like, I really was like, God damn it, girl, you did it. You got to the top of the mountain. You are there, right?
This was the vision board.
This is the vision board. Look at me. Like, I was quite chuffed about myself, right? Yeah. Take 6 years later, I'm back at the bottom of the mountain again. Hannah's gone to college. I am that much older. I'm burying a husband, and I'm almost turning 50. I'm thinking, really? Now what? Because the two kind of, for me, most favorite labels, if not three, mother, my husband, and family, was kind of gone in 1 year, right? So I took I kind of reconnected, not that I ever disconnected, but really kind of went back, did my mourning, kind of was thinking, am I too young, too old? Do I start, what? Like, it was that weird thing. I was too young, too old. Like, do I start another, like, what? Do I sell Blues to where am I? Like, it truly was like what? So, Ramona was a very dear friend, and Luann and all of them. I always stayed in contact with them. And, they had asked me previously to be on, and I would always be in the background in scenes. I don't know if you look at that.
Don't you worry.
So Ramona said to me one day, enough. Like, you need to do something now. And it would be great. You'd be great at Housewives. I mean, you know everybody. You've been on and you know us. And just do Housewives for a year and do something. And I thought, you know what? She said, you can be a friend. You can be a friend. And if you don't like it, you can leave. It's 4 months of filming, right? And I thought, so I think I kind of did, it's so funny because now it's much more of a bigger process. I had lunch with Ramona and Lisa Shannon, or it wasn't even Lisa Shannon, one of the people, and they were like, okay, you can be on. It was that simple. I don't remember thinking of it as auditioning. I'm thinking of, I'm going to do this.
And your life changed, and so did ours as viewers. And we're going to come back to Housewives as it pertains to one of your failures. But your first failure is playing Superwoman. And as you put it to me, I played Superwoman so long, I forgot how to be vulnerable and allow outside people to help me. So tell me when you first realized this about yourself.
After Richard died. And that's why I could do Housewives. It all feeds, because I knew that I came to New York City, without a lot of money, not a lot of opportunity. And I was very careful not to show too many flaws and keep it, and do everything right and follow the rules and never be unhappy, and mourn privately. And it's not that I was superficial. It's just that I wanted to appear strong. I can do everything. I even remember with Ralph, my first husband, who, by the way, I still love today. And he's a great guy and he's very close to Hannah. And I attribute all of Hannah's, a lot of, not all of Hannah's success, because Hannah owns her own success, but her success, a lot of her success in her life, not just from me, but from both of us. But, I even remember when we moved to London for the first time, I didn't know a soul. I mean, my best friends were at Peter Jones. I'd go visit people at Peter Jones, at the candle place. There was that Florio brand, I think it was called.
Yes. Yeah, it's still there.
And I actually had lunch with them at L'Oreal one day because I just was looking for a friend, right? And, I just studied how the women dressed and studied how they set tables and took a course at the Lee School and really made sure if Ralph had to go to work at 5:15 in the morning, I was up waiting for him, made sure I knew when he came home, made sure I laid out his clothes, made sure I took on this investment banker's wife, never looking scared or unknowledgeable. Like I watched the way lady so-and-so did stuff. I watched the way people, dressed their children when they were in the park. So I became a study of that. And I just always was afraid that I think I could do it. No, there was no. Absolutely. Are you tired? No. Would you throw this away? Absolutely. Everything was yes, yes. And, the truth of the matter is when I look back at that now, I was afraid. I was young. I had no friends. There was no phones. I couldn't barely contact my family, because there was no cell phones, no FaceTime. There were a lot of times when Ralph was thankfully working 12, 14 hours a day and gone 3 days a week. And I had a brand new baby that I wanted my mother.
Yes.
But I couldn't do that. So I didn't reach out to a lot of people and say, and when my mother would call and be like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. It's great. It's wonderful. We just moved into Eaton Place and I'm so excited. We're going to the Venice. Like it was all that.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm much more saying, that frightens me. Like, and I need your help. Can I talk to you? I even texted someone the other day. And after I texted, I thought, should I put that in text? I said, listen, if you get time, can you call me back? I'm feeling sad today. And after I sent it, because I sent a flaw.
Oh, well done for sending the text, first of all.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for talking about this because it's so relatable. And this is the thing, we connect as humans through our vulnerability.
That's it.
It makes you more lovable. It makes me
Correct.
feel closer to you when you do me the honor of sharing something like that.
And that's what Housewives allowed me. So when you go full circle, all of a sudden, because I didn't really give a shit anymore, and I was still grieving. For me, I wasn't great at therapy. I mean, I went to it like 3 times. I was like, well, I don't want to talk about him. Like, I wasn't great at it. And I found myself getting very insular and angry. A lot of people mourn by crying a lot and stuff. I was angry. I was lost. Like, I felt like I got cheated. So it was a great way for me to work through my really Housewives. And I always thank Andy Cohen for this and the Bravo world. It was really a place where I was able to go through a lot of my mourning. I met Carol Roswell, who we had that incredible bonding scene with in London.
I remember.
It opened up a bigger world. And I just was able to be vulnerable and not care. I'm not perfect. I don't always get it right. This is who I am, and I'm going to give you this. You can take it. You can do what you want with it. If you want to love me at the end of it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But maybe you'll learn a lesson. Both good and bad. Like,
yeah.
Do that and don't do that. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that now.
Yes.
Because I have been doing the right thing for a long time.
It's like it was your own version of therapy.
Correct.
And it came at this very powerful time. As you said, you turned 50. It's like you've had this whole other life.
Mm-hmm. And the great thing about it, there was another turning point. I remember I had no idea really what fame was or what fame does or how it affects you. Like, remember when the Housewives first came out, the first episode came out, and I was down at my fruit stand in my pajama bottoms because it's across the street in a hoodie, because I always run down and get some fruit after. And this person turned to me and said, "Oh my God, is it you?" And I was like, "I don't know. Where did we meet?" I mean, it just took me by, and I thought, oh no, she knows me from the show. And it was that moment where a veil went down. where I realized now I have given my life to everybody.
That's scary.
And it was scary. But what it did do is people fell in love with me for the first time since I was a little girl, not because I was Dorinda Lynch, Ralph's wife. I wasn't an investment banker's wife. I wasn't Hannah's mom. I wasn't Mr. Medley's wife. I was just Dorinda.
Yes.
And it was the first time in a long time they were falling in love with me.
Beautiful.
Or falling and not in love with me, but whatever it was just all mine.
They were seeing you.
Yes. I think that what it did to the Housewives, which is really kind of probably a weird thing to hear, it made Richard's death a gift. Because I was able to give it to the world and take what I learned from it. Because, I was young. I was a young widow. So I remember a woman saying to me at Eli's one day, I said, oh my God, she was like in her 80s. And I was having a drink at the bar. And I said, I'm a widow too. She goes, oh no, you're not a widow. I'm sorry your husband died, but you need a different name because you are too young to say those words. And it really, I think I was able to give that gift, the gift of A, what I had to go through, and B, the fact that I was still a relatively young and vibrant woman to be a widow. And I cannot tell you the women, the people, the community that has reached out to me over the years and still does.
So powerful. Richard bought you Bluestone Manor.
I know.
Bluestone Manor, for anyone who hasn't seen Housewives, is iconic. Basically, Bluestone Manor is the extra housewife in your seasons.
It's the Disney of Bravo.
It's incredible.
It's the Disney castle of Bravo, I always say. And I'm the Cinderella that lives there.
It's so incredible. What was it like having your Housewives castmates there the first time?
Well, that was an experience because, I come from when you imagine the first year, I'm still thinking I'm still a person with, and these are women that are going to have boundaries and not say what they're thinking.
Class.
And execute the sort of social graces you do when you're a guest, right? But then I realized, so of course I'm very proud and they're going to come here and see Bluestone Manor. It's going to be beautiful and I'm going to cook and clean and decorate and make it nice and they're going to respond to it in that way. And when it didn't go that way, I was like, who the hell are these people? Because, in the end, I think we probably created some of our greatest TV.
Agreed.
Up there. We have gone through things. I always love about Bluestone Manor because it's on 19 acres. You have to go through a gate and a long driveway. So when you are up there, you're there. You're there. So what happens there? And even off camera, the shit that happened that you guys didn't see. But all I know is we'd all wake up in the morning, whatever disasters were happening the night before, somehow we all got our shit together and we were all back on it, kind of, sharing our French toast, doing the next thing. That was the great thing. We were able to create this great TV and have our arguments, but somehow get right back on the horse and keep it moving. And we're like that in real life. If I could show you, I'm on a group text right now with me, and we stay in touch all the time. Me, Luann, Sonia, Jill, Ramona. And sometimes I'll just sit there and I think, I would never, but I could publish these and it's like a show, just the way they're not even speaking, they're texting and I can hear their voice and I can hear the disagreements. Amazing. And then it starts let me just give you this one. Something was said yesterday and Luann responded, oh, well, darling, because I could hear her voice. Are you out of your mind or minds, should I say?
Oh, this is so amazing. Wait, who sends the longest texts?
Sonia.
Okay.
Understandably.
Does anyone voice note?
No.
We're
old school. We're all old.
Does anyone send GIFs?
Like hearts? Like heart things?
I love you. No, there's a little video thing, like a meme.
No.
You're just
we're
old
very
school.
Old school. Yeah.
I am
and there's a lot of
obsessed.
is anyone, I'm going for coffee at the Carlisle's, anyone around, because we've all, you got
Going
to
to the bar
remember,
at the St.
we've
Regis.
been swimming in this.
Yes.
People don't think it's not pretend. We've all known each other for a long time. We've been through marriages and divorces and children and baptisms and parties after
Jail.
parties. And I mean, there was a time in New York where we only really, because the downtown was kind of off limits. It was a little bit more scary back in the late 80s and early 90s. And so everybody really existed on the Upper East Side because there wasn't as many wandering places as there are now, just like London. It's gotten much more expensive. So at any one night, you always ran into everyone, and we all went to the same 5 cocktail parties.
I love it. I love this for you. Your second failure is about Housewives. So it is that in the beginning, you got too emotionally and sometimes physically too upset about the negative feedback from trolls and haters.
It was terrible. The first time I finally did something that, because in the beginning, everyone's like, oh, we love her. She's so great. Dorinda Medley's fantastic. So, of course, I'm like, yes, they love me.
Yeah, like Gwyneth Paltrow at the Oscars.
And then the haters and the trolls start to seep. And then you have a bad episode. And I remember just like getting obsessed with these comments and physically feeling unwell and breaking out in hives and thinking, oh my God, and it's so fast and it's so furious and it's one of the first things that you have no control over. You can't even explain yourself because it's out there in this universe that you don't even know about. And you think you at the time think your life is over and it's going to define you for the rest of your life. Even if the things aren't true, some of them, someone called, we love and, Dorinda on steroids.com, at Dorinda, whatever, has said that you're this person. And then 92 people have replied to it. And you're like,
horrible. Yeah.
So, and what I loved about it is I remember talking to Luann about it one day. She goes, oh, darling, no complaining, no explaining. Who cares? So I really had to learn to, and these housewives are great because no matter what happens, they don't care about what Charlotte in Cincinnati says, they really don't. They're like, as Sonia would say, well, I didn't know her yesterday. I'm not going to know her tomorrow. They're just very good at like focusing on the good because I'm such a perfectionist in a lot of ways and I micromanage. And what people don't realize about me is I'm very sensitive and very vulnerable. Like I could always almost cry in a drop of anything. Like someone hurts my feelings, I will make it home, but I will bawl my eyes out.
Oh, I'm totally the same.
Yeah.
It's because you care. That's the thing.
Yes.
So if you're caring about people, you can't only care about the good things.
But I couldn't give that to the audience anymore. It's not that I didn't care about my audience, but I couldn't take it all so seriously like I had in my private life. Like if a very good friend hurt my feelings at a dinner, I had to distinguish that, like, George from Minneapolis was just having a moment with me. And I started to do a very clever thing that I suggest to people instead of trying to engage at this level of explaining, which would just turn more disastrous, right?
Yes.
I would just write back, I'm sorry you feel that way with a big heart. And then when I got humanized in these Instagram things, people would be like, oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I just thought, love you, Dorinda. Because the minute I became humanized, because I realized a lot of that is just people on the internet just having fun, being mean, feeling maybe something's going on in their life that they feel that way about themselves. It's just an opportunity, and they've dehumanized you a little bit.
So how hard was it, leaving aside the social media commentary of it and the people that you didn't know commenting, how hard was it when someone hurt your feelings on the show, or you'd have an argument with someone and
it was hurtful? Yeah, it was. And sometimes it resonated, and sometimes it took us to get off season and kind of go back into our lives and have a moment. Because listen, after filming so intensely for 4 months, you have to decompress. I always say this, it's like it's like being an NFL professional football player in the NFL. You go in there, you beat each other like crazy. You play the game its best no matter what at all costs. And then when you get off the field, it takes a minute for the bruises to heal. But at the end of the day, the team's all having dinner together at some point again. And in order to be a good group, and I think a group that really knows each other, and that's why that's so important in a lot of ways, is you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to recover. And sometimes people don't. I mean, sometimes
were you about to say Bethany?
Yeah, no.
I could see a bee like forming in your mouth.
I think Bethany left. But she left on her own, and we all would have happily had her back. She brought in great ratings. Listen, whatever you think of Bethany is great TV.
I agree. I think
epic.
But she's not on the group chat.
No, because Bethany went off and did her own thing. And, I don't think she particularly would want to be on the group chat, So it's not organic to her anymore, I don't think.
Is there anything that you haven't been able to forgive from your time in Housewives?
I don't think if I answered that or I thought that way, I would have been authentically doing what I was doing.
That makes total sense.
It's just nothing was premeditated. I know people think they script us or they stop. They would put our mics on outside in the car. You'd go and do, and then when they were done, they would take your mics off. We never saw a producer. We don't see the producers usually in a back room. It was just what it is. Then they take it, and 6 months later, they edit it. We don't even know how they do that. And it comes out in a 5-minute clip.
Do you miss it?
Someone asked me that the other day. I think I will always miss it. It's kind of like there's a difference between miss it and want to do it again, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it was such a pivotal time in my life. I love to be, like, I could live in a commune. So I love the idea of sororities, spring breaks, having someone set up every day where you're all together and going on holidays. I miss all that. The filming was fun. I think reality TV is very different now. I think people, are more switched on. There's a lot of influencers. It's a lot more curated. We were like raw footage. Let's face it.
Yeah, I have said this multiple times before. The Real Housewives of New York, the old school one before the reboot, is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. It's certainly, to my mind, the greatest reality TV show.
You think so?
Genuinely,
You're not just saying that because I'm here.
I rewatched the whole thing during
especially
lockdown.
the beginning, and I wasn't part of the beginning, so I can't take credit for that.
The entire arc of it. Let's leave out the season before the reboot, the Black Shabbat season. I'm not including that. But I rewatched the whole thing during the pandemic. It was my comfort watch, and I rewatched it, and it was just that it's incredible. And I just want to thank you for that.
Oh,
thank you for being an iconic part of it. Before we get on to your third failure, I just want to return to Bluestone Manor and ask you how the fish room is.
Fish room is alive and well. One of the fish are actually at Watch What Happens Live Clubhouse.
You've donated it. That's so generous. Okay.
It had to be. Andy has one of the fish. And I think I'm doing a huge, you're not going to believe this, Bluestone Manor tag sale this summer.
Where?
I am.
Where are you, in person or online?
At Bluestone Manor.
Shut up.
And online. It's time, Elizabeth. It's been 20 years. Can you believe I've owned that house 20 years, 13 without Richard?
Oh, Dorinda.
I mean, it's hard to believe that I was able to pull that one off. Sometimes I think, what the hell were you thinking of me? How did you, I never thought of it more than just getting through year to year.
Yeah.
And somehow it's 20 years. But, I've collected all this stuff and I'm like, I'm done. You got to understand, I've collected 20 years of stuff. I have 15 Christmas trees. And you got to remember, every Christmas I do a different theme.
It's because you make it nice.
Yeah. It's not like I put up the same, there's some people like my mother who put the same Christmas decorations up for 50 years. Every year I'm like, this year is, gingerbread houses. And starting in July, I'm doing everything. I thought I was some sort of producer in the house. It was the first time last year where here I am going up. It's after Thanksgiving, and I've ordered all this stuff. It's come in droves, and I'm thinking, I get it all up. I always have to have a team of people. We get the whole place turned into this winter wonderland. And Hannah's like, I'm not coming home until Christmas Eve, and this one and that one. And I remember walking around at midnight thinking, I think we're done with decorating at this level. Like, I'll still always decorate, but like I've been doing this for 20 years. I've had so many themes: Medusa, Candyland, Dracula's wife.
Sorry, wait, Medusa for
One
Christmas?
year was no, that was Halloween.
Halloween, okay.
Another Halloween was moss. Everything, my whole house was covered, every countertop in moss with worms and life and earth. Yeah, no, you don't know what's going on to this. I thought I was some sort of producer in my mind, producing these
I love this.
scenescapes in Bluestone Manor. And if people don't believe me, I have the pictures. Before Housewives, I was doing this.
And you can go to the sale and buy the wormy moss.
You really can.
Are you selling your dining chairs, those iconic green velvet?
I'm not selling those, but I am selling like books, and I want to get rid of all my reunion dresses.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
It's time. Either I do it or they're going to, I mean, it's so, the reason that made me do it is I don't even, like one day I'm in the 3-car garage, which is now filled up with stuff. And I said to Todd, just take out all the Christmas trees. I know that's a task. I had 17 Christmas trees, fake ones. That doesn't include the real ones I put up. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, this is good. It's purging. And this is what this podcast
and then
is
I can
all
buy
about.
new.
Yes. Your final failure is not about the Christmas trees, but it's about staying too long at the wrong table.
That is something I regret.
What do you mean by this?
I like the me now is much more savvy about saying, this doesn't work for me. You don't work for me. I don't like this and I don't want to do it. And all those things were just so encased with politeness and not wanting to unplease people and trying to make it work. If it was men, I mean, not that I've had a lot of men, but if it were relationships, friendships, jobs, situations, I would like the thing would die and I would breathe life back into it for a little bit. I kept putting it on life support until, either it ended or I finally was so sick of it and so angry, and then I would just blow it up. Like now I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because what I would do in a lot of things to get out of it, I would blow it up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As opposed to being just gracious, like, I'm so sorry, but I don't like the way this, like you would with food. That doesn't taste good. I knew it never tasted good, but I just kept eating it to the point where I got an upset stomach, and now I'm just pissed off.
So you'd get angry?
Yeah, get angry and, literally in order to get out of it, destroy it.
Right. And do you mean friendships as well?
No, not even destroy it, but just like I would wait too long. Yes, even in friendships, I had to... And a lot of things, I just now can, especially since Richard passed and stuff, I can much more easily, no is a powerful word.
Yes.
No is like, and I don't think I ever gifted myself the word no. Now it comes very easily, too easily. People are like, do you want to have dinner downtown at Balzer? I'm like, absolutely not.
And that's the complete sentence. You don't say,
absolutely not. Why? Do you have something planned? No. I just don't want to go to Balzadar at 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Do you think turning 60, which I can't even believe you have turned because you look incredible,
Thank you.
has turning 60 helped?
Turning 50 helped, but turning into a widow helped.
That was the main, because suddenly I guess you're realizing life is so short and
life
fragile.
Is short. What am I doing? Like, where is all these people I've been pleasing? Like, you realize with all the people you have in your life. I saw a great meme the other day. It said, this is your 20s, and it was a ton of people. This is your 30s. It got smaller. This is your 40s. This is your 50s. And I said, this is your 60s. And it was just a picture of a dog.
Am I a 60-year-old woman now?
And I was like, ain't that the truth, brother? Because even when you go through big traumas, like, that's a great way to weed out people that just stop showing up, right?
I completely agree. And I am a firm believer that a relationship is not a failure simply because it ends.
No.
Sometimes actually it's a successful relationship because it ends.
Yes, that's how I feel about. I mean, I don't really, and it's interesting, I don't not talk to anyone I dated, but I really haven't dated a lot of people. I was the marrying girl.
Yeah. Listen, I'm so happy to hear that at that top of that pyramid, there are still some Real Housewives of New York in your WhatsApp group chat.
Oh, yes. They're there right now. I got messages this morning.
Oh, send them my love. They don't know who I am, but do. And Dorinda, as ever, I just adore hearing you talk. You are so smart, so charismatic, so funny. And I really, really want to thank you so much for coming on How to Fail.
It's an honor when you asked. And then when I got to this very fancy building, I was like, wait a second, I got to treat Elizabeth Day with some more respect.
Dorinda Medley, obviously I made it nice for you.
You did make it
Okay,
nice.
just leave us with an iconic catchphrase.
I think, and I really believe in this one, eagles don't fly with pigeons. Eagles are eagles and do not eat the breadcrumbs. Stay an eagle, everyone.
Put that on a tote bag. Thank you so much, Dorinda. And you're staying to do some fading with friends.
Yes.
Please do follow How to Fail to get new episodes as they land on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please tell all your friends. This is an Elizabeth Day and Sony Music Entertainment original podcast. Thank you so much for listening.